Hey, James here, and tune in as I have a conversation with another James from Move Data as we chat all things data, CRMs, and more importantly, growth. It's a great conversation with one of our leading partners. We love what they do, and I'm sure you will as well. Enjoy the watch. Hey, James, thank you so much for jumping on with a Chats with Raisley. I know a little bit about you and your world. You're from Move Data. You help not-for-profits and fundraising tech integrate with some major CRM platforms like Salesforce. And you've jumped on for Chats with Raisley. I'm pumped because you've got so much knowledge that I'm looking forward to hearing. James, could you introduce yourself a little bit to our audience? What do you do? Who do you work for? And maybe why do you play in the non-for-profit and fundraising space?
Yeah, terrific. Lovely to be here. Thanks for having me. So my name's also James. I'm from a company called Move Data. And basically what we do is we work with non-profits to look at all these different tools and platforms that they're using. So obviously Raisley is one of them, and work out, well, how can we get data out of Raisley automatically and into a CRM, which is often Salesforce, so they can use that to run their business processes as an organization.
And how did you? And I'm curious, how did you kick off Move Data? Like, we've got a blog about you guys working with the Alfred project, our foundation project. How did you kick this off? Are you kind of like a data guy? That's your sort of jam, that what you do?
Yeah, it's actually a really interesting story. It's actually not too dissimilar from what I understand from the way that that Raisley came about. So we were running an agency, and we were doing all sorts of different types of work, whether it was Shopify websites, or we actually did a machine learning kind of tool which would forecast when ATMs are running out of cash and when they'd have to be restocked, and all these different types of things, and including a lot of Salesforce stuff, I should say. And we got a call from Cure Cancer Australia, who I had a good relationship with, saying, we're actually using a tool called Grassroots, and we need to connect that information into our CRM, which was Salesforce. So we actually took that on as a project, and it was really successful. It like fully automated all these manual tasks of downloading files and transforming them and uploading them into Salesforce. And they actually told someone about it. They said, you should chat with James. He's developed this wonderful integration which automates all this data coming out of systems and putting into Salesforce. Lo and behold, it just sort of, one person would tell the next, and then we'd add another integration into the mix. And obviously Raisley was one of them, and Raisley is our most popular integration into Salesforce. And I guess it just evolved kind of organically into this sort of far removed from the agency days, and now just doing Move Data, because I think there's like a real need. There's a real it's a real problem. People spending so much time downloading files and trying to manipulate them to get them into the CRM. So there's a lot of people who have this problem, and that's why we exist, to help solve that for them.
And I'm curious, on your website, you say we are for the smart non-for-profit. What is it? What is a smart non-for-profit?
Well, I don't think if you don't use Move Data, you're not smart. But I think there is in 2022, and even a long time ago, everything is going progressively more and more digital. And I think when you look at, every organization typically uses a CRM, even if that's someone who's just started up and it's Excel. And I think it is smart to think about your data, especially when it's the data of your supporters, and working out how they're interacting with you and engaging with you, and how you can sort of steward them onto their next action with your organization. So I do think it is smart to have this in mind. And I think a lot of those nonprofits who want to automate that structure, they are using or considering to use Move Data to do that process.
Yeah, love it. James, one of the things I love about Raisley is that we're a really open platform, which means that we can use language like webhooks and all of this, which at times can complicate just someone who wants to create a campaign, which is why we're so stoked to have you as a partner in our partner program with Raisley. Like, we love what you do. But today's all about kind of you sharing some of your knowledge with us. We're all about create, fundraise, and grow. Tell us a little bit. What do you want to share today? What's on your heart? What's in your mind?
Yeah, well, based off what Move Data does, I think there's only one real thing to talk to you about, and the category that I picked is grow. And I thought I would spend some time talking about CRMs, why nonprofits should consider using them if they're not already, and why they need to use one, and then also specifically about we've got this wonderful tool in Raisley. I'm using something like Salesforce to run my organization off. How do I connect the two up? How do I get all my Raisley data into Salesforce? And you know that goes to your previous comment about the Raisley webhooks, which are so fundamental in doing that.
Yep. All right, dive us in. First off, where you're going to start is tell people what does CRM actually stand for, and what is a CRM?
So CRM stands for customer relationship management, and really you can think of it as a big data store of I guess in a nonprofit context, all of your supporters and the various ways that they engage with you. And I think there's a reality that as Raisley is a beautiful tool, but as beautiful as it is, nonprofits they can't exclusively use Raisley for everything. So they use it for everything that Raisley does, all of your appeals and your peer-to-peer and community fundraising campaigns. You've got ticketing coming, all this kind of stuff. But there's just always going to be some stuff which sits outside that that Raisley feature set, if you will. So organizations might run programs, right, to deliver support to people. That's probably going to, the delivery of those programs is probably going to sit outside of Raisley. They might have a website where they're getting leads for corporate inquiries or major gifts or bequests or gifts in will and these kinds of things. So again, that might sit outside of Raisley. You've obviously got Facebook and GoFundMe as some like social media style channels where people might do birthday fundraisers or in celebration fundraisers on. And you've really, like, that list goes on and on. I mean, there's products that help with like workplace giving, and employers like might match donations. So there's just always this other stuff, even if you might base like 90% of your efforts around a tool like Raisley, which a lot of people will do. And I think that's the reason why people need to use a CRM. It's to acknowledge the fact that there's so many different touch points between your organization and your supporters. And like, if you can imagine yourself going into each of these tools to try and interrogate them and work out, who the different people are and how they're engaging with your organization in like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different systems. It's just like, it's too hard. You need to bring that information into one system. You need to standardize that data. You need to say, oh, this is the same James who's on Facebook, is on Raisley, is on my workplace giving program. And you can then have like meaningful interactions with that person. So once you bring that information in, obviously you can get far richer insights. You can get far superior reporting across what someone's doing organization-wide. You can, if you're sucking donation data and financial information in, you can then spit that out into accounting systems for reconciliation. You can run marketing programs. So great, I can see that James has done this, and this, and all these different platforms over time. I'm going to target this person to jump onto my regular giving program, that kind of thing. So really, without a CRM in place, you're just flying a bit blind. And it really allows you to understand what's going on in the context of your organization. And you can, I think, act a lot more efficiently, against, each of your supporters.
I love how you mentioned that, like, at the core of it, if you have that data in there and if you manage that data, it's going to help you grow in so many areas. And a nonprofit has a lot of areas.
Well, that's right. And like, I think initially, like, it's so overwhelming for people to log into these different systems, download these exports, and it's boring as hell. Like, transforming data in Microsoft Excel and uploading into different systems. And I think, like, initially, a lot of people, they come to us, it's from a time saving capacity. Every week I'm spending hours and hours on these tasks. So most organizations, we've obviously run some studies where we say, well, how much time were you spending before versus after move data? And inevitably it's hundreds, we're saving hundreds of hours, manual labor hours every year. So people often will come and say, I've got this, like I've just had it, dealing with all these uploads. But I think once that gets solved by a tool like Move Data, which automates that through, Razorly's APIs, not only do you get the time, but you also have this new capability in your CRM, which for us is always Salesforce, I should say, to start making these smarter decisions, which ultimately, you're using to grow your fundraising and ultimately to grow your impact. Yeah. So it's really quite by doing that integration piece, it really does unlock big, bold new capabilities in your organization.
Give us a scenario where we've got two people, one a small not-for-profit who is moving from an Excel spreadsheet that's got all their donors or whatever on there, and then the larger not-for-profit whose realm of data may just be complex or messy or maybe not sure. I love how you laugh at that one.
Those ones are less fun.
Yeah, that's one of those. Yeah. I find sometimes I reckon your job's kind of like sweeping spaces up just to make it nice and tidy. But tell us from those two perspectives, what do you recommend a small not-for-profit who is working from an Excel spreadsheet? What do you recommend for those who are struggling to manage and get on top of what their data is?
For us, like there's obviously Jira and research, there's like a variety of different CRMs out there, but there's probably like two main players in the market which offer CRM solutions to nonprofits. Yeah. Like one is obviously Salesforce, and the other one is Blackboard and their nonprofit products. Yeah. Look, we usually, we're exclusively based around Salesforce, so I can't really comment too much on the Blackboard side of things. But look, Salesforce has a wonderful product. It's the world's leading CRM. It's the one that's growing at the fastest rate. It has a dedicated add-on called Salesforce Nonprofit Success Pack, which kind of tailors Salesforce specifically to the needs of nonprofits. Yep. They provide, in terms of a young organization who's sort of just getting started and moving out of Excel, they provide, I believe, 10 forever free licenses, so it doesn't really cost you anything to get going. And I really recommend for those kinds of organizations just to jump into the tool and to start using it, not to try to customize it too much, because you just need to kind of get a feel for it for the first 3 months, the first 6 months, and then you'll sort of work out where the quirks might lie. And by quirks, I mean like everyone runs their organization a little bit differently. One of the beauties of Salesforce is you can kind of customize it indefinitely to support the administrative needs of your business. So we always say, like, start with Salesforce, get Nonprofit Success Pack, it's all free. And then we say, like, pick one fundraising system. Razorly is the obvious one, just to base your fundraising out of. Often they'll just bring Razorly with them, if they're already using it. And we'll just connect Razorly into Salesforce. Because I think the problem with any CRM, regardless of whether it's Salesforce or not, is that it starts completely empty. It's blank, and you're looking at all this functionality, but there's no records in it. And you're like, what do I do? Like, where's the utility? So by connecting, your core fundraising platform in Razorly into your CRM, all that live data is just automatically coming through. And I think for a lot of smaller nonprofits, for nonprofits who are new to Salesforce, actually helps it to make a lot of sense really quickly, because you can see, this is how it all works. I can see my donors. I can see my fundraisers. I can start segmenting them and saying, oh, here's the people who've done a really good job for me over the past couple of years. I'm going to start making a list and targeting them for my next upcoming event. Or these donors tend to give a higher amount. Maybe they're candidates to run into my regular giving program. So often it's like a catalyst, like an aha moment. This is how I'm using my CRM, because that data is automatically flowing through it. Long-winded way to get to your second question, sort of more enterprise orgs who are, more messy?
Well, no one wants to say their data's messy. One of the great parts is there's data there. But I think sometimes people can go, I just don't know how to manage that. Now, maybe they have an internal data scientist in there that's going to help, or but it can feel overwhelming. How do you make that process not feel so overwhelming for them?
I think I think no one sort of gets there by the default. Like people who are in that situation, it's from typically like years of incrementally adding new fields, new features on the side. And like when you wake up 5 years later, you're like, oh wow, this is like a tangled mess.
Yeah.
You know, I think if you're in that position, like at one day you need to bite the bullet and start coming back down to scale. But one of the good things about Nonprofit Success Pack is that it provides a standard data model. So there are these common kind of like records that will always be present to represent a contact, a donation, a fundraising campaign, this kind of thing. So it does, by using that data model, it does keep things in order a lot. Typically with your more messy, or I'm just going to substitute that with advanced orgs, like the reality is their business, their organization is doing a lot of different things, and they've probably customized Salesforce accordingly to support all of these different organizational initiatives. So I guess going down the rabbit hole, there's no way to like offer an off-the-shelf integration from a tool like Raisely into Salesforce, because orgs are always going to customize their Salesforce instance. And whilst our turnkey thing might get a lot of people 95% of the way there, I think there's an acknowledgement that we will always need to fine-tune and tailor and customize a Raisely to Salesforce integration to get it as an exact fit against how that org wants to use their Salesforce to administer their business. So, and everyone's different. Like people might put like financial codes on their Raisely campaigns, and they want it to inherit onto other records over there so they can reflect which bucket of funds these donations need to be allocated against it. There's all these like nuances, and every org's different. So I think rather than how do we deal with the messiness, it's to acknowledge that it exists and to provide an easy way to navigate the integration through that complexity so that it does the right thing for everyone.
Yeah, and I can imagine if an org is sitting down with you, James, and working out this, their level of confidence in their data just only grows, knowing that they've got you as a support to help them around that complexity.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we get like wonderful feedback from a like customer support perspective in helping nonprofits like undertake that journey to really understand what the end result should look like. And I should say for the orgs who are new to Salesforce, our turnkey offering, it is like a best practice. It results in like a best practice reflection of their Raisely data inside of Salesforce. So it's been, it's a model that's been vetted by, the Salesforce user groups, without dropping names, like some of the really big charities here in Australia and overseas who are using it. So it is definitely a best practice approach. And a lot of the sort of smaller or newer orgs will say, wow, I didn't even know that I could do that in Salesforce because we're just doing it by default. So there's quite a lot of value just by using a tool that's got, years of experience and firsthand information baked into it.
For the small not-for-profit, it's kind of been said at times that like Salesforce is like rocking up with a bazooka to a knife fight. Like, how do you answer that maybe critique of Salesforce?
It's a funny analogy. I haven't come across it before, but I do like it from the banker perspective.
So sorry to drop it on you.
I don't like. I guess it depends. Like if you're doing like a donation a week, through Raisely, sure that analogy might apply. Like anyone can just enter that one donation in and kind of do it again next week or next fortnight. Maybe in that case, the bazooka to a knife fight can apply, and they could really just live on Microsoft Excel. But I think like obviously everyone wants to grow. That weekly donation needs to turn into 2 to 3 to 4 to 5. New campaigns need to be added, and everyone wants to grow, right? And I think like if you're making an investment in a CRM, and it really is an investment. It's not like it's not something you can just turn on and it's done. Like your whole business really runs off on it. So I think if you're making that investment, you want to select something that's going to scale with you. You don't want to have to switch that out next year or a couple of years later. So with Salesforce, with Raisely, with a tool like Move Data, which sits in between them, really easy to just turn it on. Like it takes away a lot of the complexities and challenges and fears. Like, how do I do that? Like, 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 oh, like I can't do that. Like it automates that process. So I think if you're looking at it, where do I want to be 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now? I want to pick a CRM that's going to scale with me. I want to pick a fundraising platform like Raisely, which is rapidly evolving and it's got all these great features. I need to connect the two. It's a really smart choice to pick something like Raisely, Move Data, Salesforce, which is going to scale with you over the next couple of years. And like, no doubt, as you start using a tool like Salesforce, it will become less daunting. You'll realize the capabilities and you'll be able to evolve with it over time as well.
And that's almost the same with Raisely. Some people will rock up on a Raisely and go, this is really complex. I don't know how to do a page builder, or like, I need to make an edit through CSS or whatever. But once you start getting involved in that, it does just become your world. But yes. I love how you say that it's going to support future growth. It's going to help us scale. It's going to move on that way. But I'm curious to hear from you. You would have done with so many organizations who suddenly just get, as you're saying before, get that aha moment where their confidence in their data now helps them go, wow, I think we can grow from this. What excites you about seeing organizations that like they get that confidence and they're like, we can now grow?
Yeah, like it's wonderful. Like to take someone who's, is faced with this daunting challenge, how do I even start kind of thing. Like typically it doesn't take long to get to that moment either. Like we're not doing a screen share on this call, but like once you show them, and like with Raisely, it's beautiful because of your webhooks and it's all real time. You sort of make a donation and boom, there it is. It's right there. There's your donation. There's your contacts. There's your campaigns, and you can see, oh, here's how much this person has fundraised over time. Like I think that's a really good thing, is that it's not this journey to get to that aha moment. It's like, oh, like it's just sitting there waiting for me. So that's like always fantastic. I think previously, like before a tool like Move Data existed, which is like quite niche just for nonprofits, but very deep from a nonprofit to Salesforce perspective, there really weren't many other options. So like you had this, living and breathing in Microsoft Excel, over it kind of scenario to go about data. You had an option which probably only 1% of people could use, which was paying someone, the big bucks to build a real live integration. And of course, Raisely adds new features over time, and then you have to support and maintain those new features and blah, blah, blah. And it's just too expensive for the 99%. Yeah. And then, other tools do exist in like, Zapier and things like that, which specialize in connecting data from sort of one system to the next. But I think with fundraising, like, there's too much going on. There's like too many like related things happening all simultaneously. You've got a donor, you've got a donation, you've got a fundraiser, you've got a team, you've got the person behind both of those. You've got like soft crediting, you've got all this kind of stuff. And it's like, you need a more sophisticated, dedicated kind of tool. So I just love that we can unlock that, we can deliver that capability to an organization really quickly. And also for like a monthly subscription kind of fee. It's like, you don't need to come up with $30,000 worth of budget to do it. It's like, it's here, it works. You just need to add your API key in, and there you go. It's wonderful,
Yeah, I absolutely. I think that sense of it kind of answers the question of that person who's kind of going, I want to do this. Why wouldn't I just do this myself? I think for us, it's that simplicity. So if you can have that simplicity, even with Raisely and with Move Data, that it's all in there, that they can spend more time on just getting in with their donors and in with their fundraisers and that kind of space, which is really exciting as well.
Yeah, and it's not even one of those things that you really can just chip away at to learn how to do it. It's like, it's so inherently like challenging. And we've put like thousands of hours in this product to get it to where it's at. It's like, it's just, unless you have deep, technical experience in tech, just generally, like in software development generally, and in Salesforce specifically, it's really, really challenging. So like you said, focus your efforts on where it's going to make the most difference to your organization. Yeah.
So James, come on, man, shoot us a pitch. Someone's going, I'm looking at Salesforce, I've got Raisely, what's Move Data? Where do they start? How do they get in there? What's the process?
I thought I was going to do a pitch, and the thing that came to mind was from Nike, which is just do it. No, it's really easy to get started. Obviously, you can ask your Razorly account manager. So we work with the Razorly team, working with them to hook up campaigns and route them into Salesforce. But I'd say the best thing you can do is just go to the website, which is movedata.io. I'm sure we'll put it in the video. And there's a button at the top which says, I think it says book a demo or schedule a session or something to that effect. Just pick a half-hour window. I'll jump on. You'll be talking to me. And we'll just do a demo. We'll get Razorly up. We'll make some donations. We'll make some test fundraising pages. We'll see it all push into Salesforce. I think if you look at that, how quick and easy it is, you'll get that aha moment. You'll be like, wow, this is really something that I should consider using.
I love it. We love our product evolve. I was just going to ask you, is there anything that you want to see Razorly improve on? And us, we're about to release ticketing, right? Which may hit a world of hurt for you, but we're excited about that hurt. I think it's going to be great.
Yeah, we're really excited for ticketing. We definitely have customers who are using the Razor to Salesforce integration who are waiting for Razorly ticketing, and then we say once Razorly ticketing is ready, you're gonna have to give us like a month or something to actually build the integration off it. But yes, support it first thing. So Razorly ticketing is super exciting from an integration perspective, but also for our shared customers to see them use that functionality to grow. Outside of that, what else is on our plate at the moment is just doing more stuff in the UK. So getting in the UK is great. Meeting new people, solving new problems, the same problem over there. Lots of late nights with the time zone, but it's great to sort of get into UK as well. So they're two things we're really looking forward to.
James, that's super exciting. I just want to say thank you so much for jumping on. We're our partner program. We want to celebrate our partners. We love working with others to create the best solutions. At the core of it, just help people grab their idea and make it happen, which is great. So if there's anything we can do to improve your world, do let us know. We let you know how you can improve our world at times, but we love our relationship.
We do. We're on the tickets. We're on Slack together all the time. So thank you for having me. It's wonderful to have the conversation.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Take care. Look after the team, and I'm sure we'll see you around the traps. Thanks, James.
Thanks.
Well, I hope you enjoyed the chat with Razorly we had with James from Move Data. And if there's any more information you need from Move Data, make sure you reach out to them or our customer success team. We'll be happy to connect you if you're using Salesforce as your CRM. You'll find a ton of more information in the description below, so check that out. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube content. If you want to see great things like this and see them in your inbox popping on through, make sure you hit subscribe. If you have any questions, don't forget to comment. And until next time, enjoy fundraising in Razorly.